quite a few who are teachers or working in the public schools who want to increase their knowledge of what autism is. So they work at our camp and they're exposed to all levels of autism because we take everybody. But they also see how we support everybody, from our lowest functioning to our seemingly highest functioning kids with Asperger's who need a whole lot of supports also for the social end of things. It's really a good learning hands-on activity for quite a few people.
Wow. If the folks that are watching reach out today would like to volunteer, how do they really go about it and get something accomplished that they'd like to do?
They call the office and they can speak with either Mary or Julie at our office. And one of the things we really like to do is if somebody comes in to volunteer, we like to give them a specific job so they feel that their time working with our kids or working in the office or helping us with their expertise is well spent. So we have them speak with them, find out what their interests are, what our needs are, and then we try to make it so that they have a specific time, a specific job they're doing, so they're not just coming in and hanging around and watching, but they're actually hands-on doing something.
Joanne, name the responsibilities that they may be given, the various responsibilities as volunteers, as interns. Some of the actual, teaching that they might do, socializing with them.
Well, the volunteers that we would use, we have social skills groups which meet weekly. They would be, if somebody wanted to volunteer in the social skills group, we would give them a specific group and time where they would be the support person for that specific group for the next 14 weeks. If they want, or at camp, you're with a specific group and you're with them for the full 2 weeks, 35 hours a week. They'd be working, supporting the kids. Some of our kids need one-to-ones support so they can participate in the group. They need help with their visual supports and different things. They would be with the kids at camp. They'd be swimming with them. They'd be hiking with them. They'd be rowing boats with them. They'd be a kid themselves for 35 hours for a week.
Communicating all the time, socializing all the time.
Yeah, and helping the kids. When we get to camp, it's an area where we like to help them. What we say is generalized stuff that they've been learning all year in the classes, but even in the classes, there's a group, for instance, Club Junior Life Skills, which is some of our more concrete thinking teenagers, and they go out in the community every other week. They're out. Either this week they're going to be down at, I think, a playground, but they do activities. They go out. They learn how to navigate the restaurants, how to navigate a store, all these life skills they need.
Sure.
And so volunteers will go and help support them in that with the curriculum that.
What's the usual age range for those kids that do that?
That's the tweeners, we say, probably anywhere from 12 through about 16 or so. But if somebody's developmentally 12 years old but they're 18, they may still be in there. We try to keep the groups so that their ability is the same, their age is pretty close. We don't want to have a 6'2", 200-pound senior with a seventh grader. We try to it's hard putting all the groups together because you have to take all of this into account.
Yeah. Any magic pills out there?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
I understand some of the technologies are very sophisticated. The different high-tech technologies like iPads and computers. What treatments are showing the most success?
Whatever treatment it is that you pick, I think the best thing is with our kids, it's got to be 24/7. The consistency of it is probably the hardest thing, maintaining that. There's a lot of technology. The iPad is very hot right now, and there's a lot of research going around that and systems similar to that for our kids because it's affordable, it's accessible to families. Affordable being it's $500 or $600, but compared to some of the other technology that's in the thousands, it's also cool. If you're a 6th or 7th grader nonverbal and you're walking around with an iPad that has a communication system on it and you can communicate with your friends,
Incredible.
It's very inclusive. It's like, wow, this is, that compared to some big box that you had to carry around, which is a little scary to the kids. So, the technology, I'm very hopeful because, like we said, you don't have to be able to speak to communicate. And if we can get some more affordable augmentative communication in there to help some of them get past the communication issues so they can get their basic wants and needs and thoughts, across to other people, what a better life for that individual instead of being so frustrated all the time.
I know there's been a lot of controversy about the certain chemicals that are found in vaccines that children are given. Do you feel that the chemicals in those vaccines could be or can be part of the problem?
You know, I'm not sure about that. I think that there's a huge genetic component, but now there's also a lot of shift in the medical community that is looking at environmental impacts. What's the trigger? What's the insult to the kids that makes somebody who has a genetic susceptibility to this suddenly, what makes them cross over the line and have autism? So we don't know. You know, right now we really need to keep working on the interventions today that are helping the kids move forward, and they continue to do the research. You know, the scientists need to continue to look at everything because it's so rapid. The growth is so rapid. There's got to be something out there.
Do you find that the fundraising, which one has been most successful for you, fundraising, and how do people send you their money?
Our most successful fundraiser is probably our walk. It's our 9th year, and that's
April what?
April 10th.
April 10th.
At 9 o'clock at Goddard Park.
Okay.
That has been our most successful fundraiser. It's my favorite because it's the one our families can get involved with the most. It's very grassroots. Autism can break you financially. It's so expensive, and currently there's not a whole lot of commercial insurance that pays for the interventions that our kids have. So our families are broke, but when we do the walk and we get the sheets in and it says grandma $5, auntie $10, you know, we get hundreds of those and it adds up. It's heartwarming because we don't want to impact our families, but we need their support because without the fundraising we can't keep our doors open to do what we're doing.
So if people want to send their donations, where do they send them? Can they go online and go to the website? And
Absolutely. They can send it to our office directly. We're the Autism Project at 1516 Atwood Avenue in Johnston. Or they can go right onto the website, and there's a big old Donate Now button in the top right because, and that we tried to simplify it, make it as easy as possible.
What grants has the Autism Project received, if any?
We've been very, very lucky. A lot of big community area organizations support us. Our social skills groups gets a tremendous amount of support from the United Way of Rhode Island. And we currently have a grant from them for 3 years. We've also, CVS and has been very, very, very generous, and Hasbro. Hasbro Charitable Trust and Karen Davis have been supporting us since day one. That was the first grant that they got to hire me. And that was a $25,000 grant 10 years ago.
That's fantastic.
Yep, and but more important than the grants has been the mentoring that these organizations have done for us. And Ocean State Charitable Trust believes in us. Episcopal Charities has given us grants. We work very hard trying to develop the grants and develop the relationships and use their money wisely. You know, we try to keep our overhead low and have as much of the money as possible go directly to the kids' programming.
So what's ahead in your planning as director? Yeah, you must have a roadmap that you're following. What's ahead for the future of your project?
The future. One of the things we're doing is as our kids grow up, we're growing up. You know, when I started with the Autism Project, Patrick was 6 years old. He's now going to be 16. You know, and he still has autism. And a lot of the kids, when they get to be 16, still have autism. So our goal is to have the organization continue to learn and bring information in for our state and our families and schools about transition. These children are now young men and or young women, and they're going from high school into the workforce, or high school into supported work, or high school into supported living. And we need to find out how that works so we can educate our parents so they can make good choices. And how does the employment work so we can figure out how we can support the employers and support the people who support the employers through education of how best to communicate with our kids, our young adults now. You know, so I would think the biggest thing, the hottest issue on our barometer right now is the transition into adulthood and young adults.
So is autism, in your estimation, less physiological than psychological? Is there any identifying signs other than, behavioral?
Autism is a brain-based neurological disorder. It is all physical.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of the science, there's a lot of brain studies going on, a lot of other research to find out exactly, what the differences are, what the similarities are, so that they can help with interventions. There's some big biomarkers.
For those that wish to get involved, tell us your website and who to contact.
Our website is www.theautismproject.org, and they can email me, Joanne, Joanne, at theautismproject.org, or info@theautismproject.org. Our website, we just updated quite a bit of information on it about our trainings, the social skills groups, the camp applications are online now, and the walk is coming up, and so lots of information on that. It's a big push because it really helps us do what we do.
Do you have a group of doctors or nurses that are familiar with autism that can talk to maybe expectant parents or parents who have children, what signs they should be looking for in their children as their children are growing? Do you have any people that will?
Well, we have parent consultants, and
what do you say to them?
Our parent consultants are very well versed. They are parents of children with autism, plus they've been researched and training for the last 10 or so years, the people who we have currently now. And, somebody calls with concerns, we ask them what their concerns are. We look to see if there's any red flags. Depending upon the child's age, there's different markers. The younger kids, if, it's all predominantly about the language. Do they have any words? Are they imitating? Are they looking you in the eye? How do they do with transitions? Are there meltdowns? And if different meltdowns, we would refer them back to their pediatrician to see if they can get a referral for further look. If it's somebody, some of the third graders, second, third, fourth grade is where we get a lot of calls about kids who are recently diagnosed with Asperger's, what to expect, what to look for, that type of thing.
Explain that again.
Asperger's.
I'm a little confused about
Asperger's.
that
Asperger's are young adults or children or teenagers who they have pretty good speech, pretty good communication. They have average to above average IQ. Some of them can have IQs through the roof. But they have also have a very impaired social ability to navigate the social situation, reading, the social body language, the emotions, somebody else's perspective, what's going on, what's he really thinking, understanding that you are thinking, that you have thoughts that aren't different than their thoughts, and they also have a very high interest area that they sometimes perseverate on, whether it's horticulture, it can be anything, but it's their thing that's all they focus on, to the point that we could say, I know a lot of people like that, but it's to the point where it gets in the way that all they can talk about is horticulture. Everything's about horticulture. They can't see anybody else's point of view or perspective on something. As you said earlier, autism is an epidemic, but there's a lot of there's a lot of physical, biomedical aspects that people are looking at. There's a lot of interventions that are hopeful and work really well. We just need support. Our organization and other organizations in the state need support so that we can keep doing the work. So in the long run, our goal is to make the kids that we work with and the young adults that we work with independent, tax-paying citizens, living as much on their own as they can, working as much on their own as they can, and having a nice quality of life. The same hopes and dreams we have for our typically developing kids.
Joanne, give us your website one more time before we close this segment.
Sure, it's www.theautismproject.org.
It's been marvelous having you with
you.
us, Joanne. I appreciate you coming on, and come back and visit us some other time.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Thank you.